How's it going, neighbors? This is Ed here with etrailer.com, and we're taking a look at the Westin Overland bed rack on our 2023 Jeep Gladiator. Ladder racks for overland and off-road are very popular on the Jeep Gladiator, and this particular entry from Westin is going to allow you to get those things out on the road with you that go along with that type of lifestyle. The design of it is designed for people that would put a rooftop tent on it in mind with the elevation, but the key of it was to not extend beyond the top of the cab. Overall, something like this is going to just allow you to get those jacks, those jerry cans, recovery boards, all those things that you need for your adventure out on the road with you. Constructed of black powder coated steel, and all of your fasteners are coated stainless steel. I actually dropped some hardware and tried to use my magnet to retrieve it and found out that it's actually stainless steel. So that's going to hold up super well with the elements against rust and corrosion. I'm a visual person, so you can kind of get a better idea of something when you see it in the capacity that it's supposed to be in. So I put up one of our Yakima rooftop tents so you can get an idea of the clearance and how it would look on top of the Westin bars. And as you can see with this positioning here, it's similar to how you would use crossbars on top of a car. You just have those two rails where you're making that contact connection and clamping everything down. The Overland is a solid carrier that's going to give you 400 pounds of weight capacity and a system that's designed for your rooftop tent. So the two bars that are going to run from the front to back here gives you additional strength and support, and it allows you to make adjustments using the holes on the end to go in tighter or wider apart depending on what's required for your rooftop tent. This system only works with the OEM track system from Jeep, so you will need that in order to secure it to the back of your bed. Just a small note, during your installation, you will have to remove your factory tie-down loops. Once you get into the installation, I'll show you the point where you can reinstall them. It's going to still allow you to have those points. You just have to get them out of the track so you can slide the supports down. The Overland is a great value out of the box because it's a complete system that allows you to use your existing brackets and hardware. If you were looking for an alternative to compare it against, the Yakima Outpost is a mid-height ladder rack that fits on the back of the Gladiator. Gives you a little bit more weight capacity, but the trade-off is the fact that you're going to have to add accessories like your sidebar, and your accessories for like shovels and recovery boards are all going to be channel mount and Yakima exclusive. So if you want that additional flexibility, the Westin is kind of the better option. Overall, in my experience speaking with our neighbor and our vendors with Westin and all the other brands that we have, I would say that I trust the brand because of the quality of the products that they use. Westin makes a lot of vehicle accessories like Nerf bars and brush guards, and these are right on par with those types of products. Not a necessary function, but something I thought that looks really cool. On the side of our rack, we actually have this precision cut mountain range here, along with the die-cast Westin badge to give you that real put together look. And honestly, I think that this is going to give you a super rugged, outdoorsy look for your Gladiator that's already starting out that way. Another thing that's really cool, that the installation seems like it's a lot because there's so many individual parts, but kind of getting ahead of that and organizing it as you remove it from the two boxes you're going to receive, it makes a world of difference for the setup. If you have an additional set of hands, tell them to come on over, and then I'll show you guys how to get this installed. Our installation has a lot of pieces and parts, so it makes the most sense to lay everything out first. I went ahead and assembled the one closest to the cab to get an idea of how everything comes together. And one step that you're definitely going to want to do first is getting your bolts into your track for the end closer to the tailgate, because there's not going to be another opportunity to get that installed. So that's going to be one of the first things that I suggest that you get going. And then from there, I'll show you how to get the structure put together. You get these in place by removing your factory tie downs and just sliding them down the track just close to the end of the tailgate, and we'll get in position once we have our rear structure. So you want to identify your uprights to make sure you have everything in the correct orientation. For the driver's side, you want to make sure these holes for your sidebar are pointing towards the cab. You also have this blank point that's pointing towards the inside. That's going to let you know exactly where you should have everything aligned. And we're just going to grab our crossbar. I'm just going to slide it a little bit further off of the bed. And I'm going to use my weld nut and my M10 bolt. We're going to slide her in flat. And I just want it to grip on a couple threads, just enough to hold it. And I'm going to do the same for this one. And that way it'll slide along this track so I can make sure I have it to the correct width for the positioning. I'm going to flip this over and do the same on the other side. And there is a lot of hardware. However, the instructions, I would say they give you a great guideline of how everything goes together. You just want to make sure you're taking the time to set everything up and set it out so it's easier to access when you're assembling. Found that holding that plate with the weld nuts back gives you enough resistance to get those threads in. Let's get our other tower installed as well. Super fun time fastening all these nuts and bolts. It's really not that bad. And so from here, I'm going to grab my bar. I'm just going to rest it along the edge of the bed. And because we didn't completely tighten our hardware, we can make use of the slots here for adjustability. And now I'm just going to align our T-bolts with the slots on the bottom of the platforms. There we go. I'm gonna hop over on the passenger side and do the same thing. Now that we have our uprights installed on a track, you're going to have to position them far back as possible on the track. They take up the whole bed, so you're gonna go as far back as you can and as far front as you can. If you were wanting to still use your factory tie-down loops, this is going to be your last opportunity to do that without having to unbolt anything. It will require you to remove your end T-nuts and then slide those guys on the track before you fasten down. Now that we are at this point, we're going to move to the next phase, and that's going to be putting our bar from the front to the rear, and we're just going to align it on the two top holes right in here. From there, we're going to take our M8 hardware and we're just going to fasten it to the top and take our second bar and do the same. In this point of the process, we are still hand tightening. Just still giving ourselves that flexibility to make any necessary adjustments in position. So we still got a lot of hardware, lots of nuts and bolts. However, once you install this, it's likely that it's gonna stay on the back of your vehicle. And speaking to the fact that I will be taking this apart because it's a demonstration, just a fit guide, if I were installing this on my Gladiator, I would use some Loctite blue with all my hardware if it's gonna be a permanent fixture, just to, you know, give it that extra measure of security. So now that I got the last of this hardware in, I'm gonna go to the passenger side and get our other bar here. Our next step is putting our sidebar on. One thing that I encountered right here is actually a little bit of imperfection in our weld nuts, and that tends to happen from the powder coating process. You can clean that out using a wire brush or various different means. You can just do an online search, but you can get that cleared out, and then you don't have to worry about your hardware binding up. We're just gonna mock this up, just give it a little prop up here, make sure we got the correct spacing. And now I'm gonna grab my hardware and we're gonna fasten her on. We were able to clean up the weld nut here. We just basically I took the tip of my knife and popped that burr out of there really carefully not to damage the threads, and just hit it with a wire brush with a little silicone spray. And now we're good to go for your hardware. And I'm just gonna align my crossbar with the plates. I'm just gonna use this kind of to pin it into place. So I'm gonna get a couple threads started. I'll do the same over here. And now my hardware will hold my sidebar in place. So we're getting closer to home now. You want to make sure the entire rack is shifted as far back as you can on the track. For your installation at home, you're going to use the included plastic washers here right above your nuts. But once you install these, they don't come off. So for my demonstration, we're just going to pass over that step, and we're going to grab our 13mm nuts and get those started. And now we're at the point where we're actually going to start fastening down. So I would say any adjustments that you want to make, you want to definitely do before you grab your socket wrench. And then we're just going to tighten these guys down. So at this point, since we have all 4 contact points fastened down, this is where you're going to be able to make any other adjustments as far as that crossbar slide. It's going to be a little bit more stiff, but this is where you're going to fasten down. And this will pull that plate with the weld nut closer to the inside of the bar, and it's going to give you a sturdy connection. And now we're going to go around and go to each one of our connection points and fasten everything down. So I'm going to grab my 13mm wrench, and I'm going to hold in on here. I'm going to fasten these guys over here across the top and on my side rail. After you fasten everything down, you're going to want to check all your hardware with your torque wrench to make sure that you have everything at the specified requirement. Is a difference between the M8 and the M10, so you just want to look in the manual to make sure you have it all correct. So this is Ed with etrailer.com taking a look at the Westin Overland bed rack on our 2023 Jeep Gladiator.